Professor Pete here. How's everybody doing? It is week 10 of game design, and I want us to really spend some time understanding the flow of a level, how we can get the player to navigate through that level and focus on the different parts. Because if we are designing a whole world, there are some spots we don't want the character to go, and then we do want to dictate where the character does go. So we spent most of our effort and all of our time on the parts that the player will see and kind of leave the other stuff behind. So concepts in terms of level design, let's have a quick look. And these are 7 things that we will focus on. And I'll show you a number of examples in different games that use this same technique. So first off is pathway. So we have a sidewalk, we have a train track, we have a highway. NPC, a non-player character. This can be very helpful in terms of navigating a space. So you can have a dog that's in the pathway or somewhere, and the player will then go towards it. Any type of movement, like ambient animation, butterflies, things like that, helps the user think that, oh, they're going the right direction, and they don't feel lost. Talking about character getting lost, this is also a big problem. If the level is not properly created, the character gets lost, can't hit the objectives, gets frustrated, starts wasting time, gets bored. So we don't want the character to get lost in our level. Something that's brighter, so it could be a light, it could be maybe a piece of wood. Overall the wood itself is dark, and then there's maybe a piece of it that's a lighter color, and that would help the character want to, give them a hint to go there. Landmark is also really important. If it's a huge castle, the player's going to think, wow, I'm very curious, I want to go see this thing. And so that's another big one. A threat. So I'm going to show you some examples where there's characters that are trying to attack the user, the player. And so that will then, again, draw the character into those directions. And then sound. It's a small thing, but you could have a knock in a certain direction, and the character will then be drawn to it and would go to that area.
All right, so we kind of get to do this entire mission how we want.
So this is Ghosts of Tsushima. And again, we're looking at the level itself. It's outside, it's raining. You see that there's a clear path somewhat by following the little stream there. And you see the rocks. So canyons are also a huge element that we see a lot in these outside world games, these sandbox games. And there's the path. Okay, it's a dirt path, it's used. And the character will jump on a horse, which I think is kind of interesting. And now we start moving a little bit faster. But you see how the trees also, they're open up, and it creates an opportunity. You see that there's lights too, again, to make it seem like this space is livable, right? So this character's gonna go up through this path, and there is some more lights, civilization. See, notice how it's high contrast, and the path kind of goes towards the left. So naturally, you go towards the left. You see that there is, again, a monument, a building of sorts that's very inviting. The character sees another light source and starts going into this house. So the character's exploring. You can see all these hints. Right, something has happened. Adds to the gameplay. You have objects on the ground, high intensity, very traumatic. There's, again, bright light source. Characters exploring, looking around. The door on the left, again, naturally, you're going to want to go over there. And this is all planned, all set up this way for the character to just naturally flow into your level. Again, there's that light source. It's a possible location. I would look over the horizon. There's another light source over there in the back. Here's an opportunity where we have multiple locations in terms of where the character can go. It's 360 degrees. Notice how the train goes up. Okay. Naturally, as a player, we want to go higher to get a better vantage point. And then there is an NPC, and the story continues. Shadow of Tomb Raider, PS5 game, really beautiful graphics. Again, it's an outdoor world, and we are drawn into this. Notice how there's the stairs and the steps. From here, you have a cutscene, so you have that, that you're going the right direction. From here, yeah, it's pretty tricky because the game mechanics that the character can climb with axes and can rappel. It's pretty straightforward, but otherwise, it would be a little bit difficult. But you can see how there's a ledge on the side of this cliff, and then you also can see at the end there, opportunity for the character to jump, and you can see how there's a ledge there, and notice how there's a little bit of light, and you can see some additional hints. So on the top of that rock face, there was some relief sculpture. Character goes down. Notice the ground is a little bit lighter in color, like it's been used before. If you go on a dirt trail, you'll notice that, you know, parts where people have stepped on is flatter, and there's also a little more wornness in it. So there's usually a change in color. It's an indication that it's okay to walk on it. So again, that nice contrast and light in terms of a technique to draw. Again, light on that ledge. It's a lighter color. Okay, the character gets into the tomb, and again, you can start to see little icons and indicators that the character is going, that you as a player are going the right direction. There's that light source, nice little cutscene, water, light source, open space, stairs, clear path, walls on both sides. So I think you get the right idea. So moving on, we have Uncharted. Again, it's got a lot of ruins. You're inside a space. You're playing against the NPCs, so you're going to be drawn to the direction of those characters, those threats. And it's, again, following a path. Unfortunate there. But again, you know, a lot to discover. This is a little bit more of a threat-based adventure game where you're drawn by those other NPCs. But you can see again how, you know, you really feel like this is a space. You're right. There's doors you want to go through, openings, light sources, and that's what makes the game, you know, enjoyable. So there you go. You got the monument. You know, the character's going to head over to that direction. Higher in terms of the height map. You got some height there. All right. So and then here's this, you know, really impressive, beautiful world. Cyberpunk. Again, it's in a city, so you have, right, you can walk on driveways, you can walk on roads, there's sidewalks. In this case, you know, they have the very clear indicator in terms of where to go with the number of meters with the HUD, heads-up display. And then you got, you know, the city itself, it's moving, it's lively, but of course you got that indicator that helps navigate the space, easy for you to get around, just following it.
I just need to rest a while.
And then finally, I'll leave this video of Red Dead Redemption, another open world, outdoor scene, following different paths. So again, you know, think about your level, make sure that there's clear pathways, make sure that there is some animation, whether it's a dog or a character or human, that can draw the main player into those areas. Think about, you know, height, ledges, like in this case, contrast, landmarks, you know, big giant buildings. Those are things that players want to see. If you you know, your game happens to have a threat, you know, again, this is something that's really important. It draws the player. And then sound. You don't want the player to get lost in your level and get bored. So these are some major tactics into making sure that the character stays engaged. So, Professor Pete, keep learning, work hard. See you in the next one.